So how good is Adeleye? Let's talk about it. Well, when Adeleye fought Fabio Wardley, there was a few things that he showed. He showed that he had really, really good heart. Because when he got knocked down, a lot of people, they wouldn't have got back up. But he did. He also showed a good counter left hook. Unfortunately for him though, Fabio Wardley was kind of controlling the fight. He was controlling the fight, and I would have thought that Adeleye would have probably been disappointed with the performance. Now, there was things that he could take away from it. His resistance in the sense of his mental strength to get up. He clearly was looking for the counter shots, and he was trying to implement some type of game plan. But in simple terms, it wasn't his night. However, he came back, and he came back with the trainer Adam Booth. Adam Booth is a high quality trainer, and he's known for his work with David Haye. He was the trainer behind David Haye when he became the cruiserweight champion, and he was also the trainer when David Haye became heavyweight champion as well. So Adam Booth is a credible trainer. And against Solomon Dakers, Adeleye looked absolutely sensational. He really did. I believe that the fight ended in round 1, and it was a short left hook. That it was like a short left hook off his back foot. He didn't do what Mike Tyson would typically do, which is bend to the left and throw. He just threw it really short off the back foot, similar to how Evander Holyfield would throw his left hook, and it delivered devastating results. And since that time, Solomon Dakers has had a very good performance. So that performance looks really good. Now, Adeleye is now scheduled to fight Filip Hrgovic, and there's some questions with regards to how good he is. But in Adelaye's recent fight, he fought TKV. And when he fought TKV was able to nullify a lot of what Adeleye was doing with the feints and the jab. And he varied the jab. He'd throw it to the body and he'd throw it to the head. Now, Adeleye was trying to counter the jab with the left hook. A good example of countering the jab with the left hook would be Evander Holyfield versus Ray Mercer. There's a point where he catches Ray Mercer's jab with his right hand and then throws that short left hook. But Adeleye was really struggling. He was struggling to deal with the feints. He was feinting himself, and he was also dipping to the left, which I guess he was anticipating the jab, dipping to the left to land the left hook, but he was ineffective with it. But he had good technique. He also tried to set a trap. He would go back to the ropes to try and lure TKV in. But he simply couldn't get his punches off. He was struggling to get a rhythm. And in fairness to TKV, it seemed that his game plan was centered on disrupting Adelaye's rhythm. And he did a very good job. He made it his type of fight, which was primarily just a fight where he was dictating with the jab. Now, in fairness to Adeleye, he did find a way. He did find a knockout. It was controversial, actually. They were in a clinch, and then TKV just stopped defending himself, and then Adeleye threw again this short left hook. He really gets a lot of power on that short left hook, and it was night. So it was a good end, a good outcome, but the process was problematic. What becomes even more problematic is that most people would suggest that Filip Hrgovic has a better jab than TKV. And also, Filip Hrgovic has a good right hand. He has a good 1-2. And if he can land the jab, the straight right will follow. And Filip Hrgovic, and you can see this referenced in the Daniel Dubois fight, if he's landing the jab, he's going to throw the straight right. If he can land the straight right 6 times, he will throw it 6 times. So that's quite concerning. If I was Adeleye and I was looking at that fight, and Adam Booth, to my understanding, is a perfectionist, so he'll be looking at that fight, he'll be studying the tapes, and he'll be looking to make the appropriate amendments. But he definitely he needs to be able to deal with that puzzle. And I think it's a good learning experience. Now, when I looked at the fight in terms of what he could have done, I felt like maybe he could have tried a few other things. He did try some things. Like I said, he was dipping to the left. He was retreating to the ropes. He was trying to get his jab off, but nothing was working. But I thought maybe he could have tried to use a left hook feint. So maybe a left hook feint to set up the straight right, or a left hook feint and then throw the left hook. I thought he could have countered the jab more. So he could have tried to use the counter jab. Maybe the counter 1-2 would have been effective, and also the double jab. The double jab I think would have been really good, because that could have set up. You could have done a double jab. It could have set up the right hook, or it could have done a double jab, short left hook, right hook. There were some things he could have utilized there that he didn't. But saying that was a good learning experience for Adeleye, because he would have experienced that puzzle, and he would know that he had difficulty in solving that puzzle, and next time he should be more prepared in solving that puzzle. Also, the clinching is interesting. I remember Don Turner. Don Turner trained Larry Holmes, and he also trained Evander Holyfield. And I remember in one fight, I think it was against Lennox Lewis, he told Evander to, when Lewis goes to hold you, just put your hands to the chest and then roll out and then throw. And when fighters are holding you, you need to really be able to deal with that, because if the referee allows it and you don't have an answer for it, then your opponent is just going to duplicate that over and over again, and that drains you. So I think the key here is that there were some problems presented in that fight. There was a puzzle presented in that fight that Adeleye had a hard time solving. And hopefully he'll be able to review the tape, and he will be able to analyze his performance. And then when he's presented with those similar puzzles, he will be able to bring a better solution. So how good is Adeleye? I think we're going to find out how good Adeleye is when he fights Filip Hrgovic, because Filip Hrgovic is a good fighter. Even if you look at the Joe Joyce fight, and we can argue how far Joe Joyce has gone back since he was knocked out by Zhilei Zhang and lost to Derek Chisora, but he had a short camp. He came in on short notice, and he showed, I think he showed that he's still a talented fighter, still got a good jabs, got a really good 1-2, and he showed that he's courageous, and he's got heart, and he's got character. And there's going to be a lot of questions asked about Adeleye in this fight. This is definitely, if you take away the Fabio Wardley fight, this is going to be his hardest test. So I think this fight should reveal what level Adeleye is at. And when Adeleye fought Fabio Wardley, he was unable to solve the Fabio Wardley puzzle. And this is important, because boxing at the elite level, when we talk about boxing intelligence, it's about solving the puzzles. So now Adeleye has a new puzzle to solve, and depending on how he does or doesn't solve that puzzle will give us an indication on his boxing intelligence, and also will give us an indication on whether he's going to be a contender or a potential champion.